Chapter 6, The Devil's Playground. Let's review our journey so far. You were born on the island of desire, where you moved instinctively toward pleasure and away from pain. When you were hungry, you ate. When you were thirsty, you drank. When you were tired, you slept. If it felt good, you did it. If it felt bad, you avoided it. Very simple. And we represented this with a box with the word desire in the middle. Life on the island of desire was simple. You began to notice patterns, the lines of your mother's face, the bars of your crib, the 3 dimensions, time. You learned to name what you saw and describe it with language. You became self-aware, conscious. And we represented this with an opening at the top of the box with the word consciousness on it, sort of a gray line. Because when we achieve consciousness, we pop out of this simple box of desire. Consciousness forced you to look at your existence through the lens of story. You could no longer stay on the island of pure desire. You moved to Story Island. And we draw this with a second box on top of the desire box labeled story. So consciousness breaks the barrier between just pure desire, and we begin to think of ourselves as part of a story. When you landed on Story Island, it was your parents' story. As you grew, you developed your own. Faith was the story you believed about yourself and your world. This determined what you hoped for, as well as who and what you loved. Faith gave life meaning. Hope was a motive to go on. Love was a place where you belonged. And so your story met your need for meaning, for motivation, and belonging. Other people's stories conflicted with yours, though. They tried to get you to live in their story, and so you tried to get them to live in yours. Strife broke out. Then things got even worse. The Specters tore everyone's stories to shreds. In Yarus, exposed stories to be the work of human imagination. Without faith, you were cast into life without meaning, nihilism. Vanitas ruined every happy ending. Without hope, there was no motivation to go on. You fell into despair. Rapax tore away the mask of love, revealing self-interest to be the driving force behind every action. You didn't belong anywhere and felt alienated from others and the world around you. Without story, you were in the middle of an existential crisis, called often, of course, the dark night of the soul. This is where we find ourselves in today's episode. There are only 2 choices. You must face the specters or hide from them. Today we will explore the places we go when we choose to hide. It's crowded in there because nearly all human activity takes place in the Devil's Playground. The Devil's Playground is not a wellness retreat. The rides leave you sick and disoriented. Today, I will describe 8 of them. So take your Dramamine or do whatever you need to do to avoid motion sickness. Here we go, starting with number 1, the dogmatist. The dogmatist allows you to escape the specters by ignoring the world as you perceive it. When reality pokes a hole in your story, you cling to an imaginary story that brings you comfort. Were you a lousy parent? Let imagination replace your guilty memories with a creative story of an idyllic family. You were a great parent. Do 60 courts agree that you lost the 2020 presidential election? Ignore them and say you won. Repeat it until you believe it. Are you a fundamentalist pastor who finds inconsistencies in the Bible? Pound the pulpit and preach about how you trust the inerrant Word of God. On the dogmatist, if you don't like the world you see, you just make up a world where you want to live and live in that instead. The problem is that when you betray your own perception, your life becomes a figment of your imagination. Plus, It takes a lot of work to prop up your story and defend it against others who refuse to go there with you. So that's the dogmatist. Let's move on to a second ride that I call the rocket. This one is fairly simple. Do the specters haunt you? Take a ride on the rocket. Stay so busy you don't have time to think about them. Cram your schedule. Check your phone. Check it again. Multitask. Who has time to consider the mysteries of life? It's time to go. Have another cup of coffee. Go, go, go. The rocket protects you from the specters, but leaves you strung out and exhausted. A third ride I call the leech. Are you tired of your life? Slip into someone else's. Don't sit around the dinner table discussing your boring day. Sit on the couch and enter the imaginary world of Seinfeld or Breaking Bad or The White Lotus or, sky's the limit. Is your marriage going stale? Slip into the bathtub, light a candle, drown your sorrows in the world of harlequin romance. Does your life lack meaning? Immerse yourself in the boiling hot, mad world of politics. Pick a side and lock into your phone to hear about the latest scandal. Social media is another great way to leech off of the lives of others. Enter the curated lives of your friends. Craft your own story and add it to the mix. Why face reality when you can play make-believe? There's nothing wrong with a flight of fancy now and then. We all need a break. The problem occurs when this becomes a replacement for flesh and blood existence. The leech turns you into an empty shell, sucking lifeblood from others to survive. On to our fourth ride, and this one is my favorite. I spent years on it. I'm something of an expert on it. It's called the Christian. A third of the world identifies as Christian. It's no wonder. Christianity offers an escape from each specter. To Inyarus, Christianity says, "Of course you feel lost. You are a finite creature. There's much you don't know. Never fear. You have a heavenly Father who knows all and has a wonderful plan for you. As for your daily life, you have the Bible to guide you. Simply read the instructions and follow them." To Vanitas, Christianity says, "Of course longing can't be satiated. You live in a world that's been ruined by sin. Never fear. God has stepped in to save the day. His plan is to create a new heaven and earth. He will wipe away every tear from your eye. There will be no more death or sorrow or crying or pain." That, by the way, is right out of Revelation if you don't recognize it. As proof of this, you can feel God's Spirit in you, eagerly yearning for this world to come. To Rapax, Christianity says, "Does the world seem cruel to you? Do you feel alone?" Jesus understands. He was despised and rejected too. He knows your suffering and walks by your side. Soon you will be with him in heaven, where you will enjoy the Father's love forever. In the meantime, you have God's holy family, the church. There you will experience this love, even before you get to heaven. The Christian is the biggest, shiniest ride in the park. The day you hop on board is so joyful, you describe it as being born again. Once the ride starts, though, things get bumpy. The Bible, which is the basis of the whole story, is filled with puzzles and contradictions. Focusing on a new heaven and a new earth makes this one feel kind of unimportant. Jesus, who walks by your side, is an imaginary friend who is only as faithful as your imagination. The people in church are self-centered, just like everyone else. The Christian offers only temporary escape from the specters. As a solution for them, it turns out to be a big dud. On to the zombie. Zombie movies are all the rage these days. A zombie is a human being reduced to pure appetite. We see in zombies the creatures we become when we escape our stories by giving ourselves over to sensuality. Gaze at porn, eat a pan of brownies, Take your favorite drug. Have another glass of wine. Go shopping. Pick your poison. Plunging into pure sensuality is a surefire way to turn off your pesky consciousness and escape your story. But it's like holding your breath. You can only stay submerged in pure desire for so long. As hard as you try to stay down there, you keep popping back up into your story. When you return, things are worse, which makes the need to escape feel even greater, so you plunge back into sensuality. When you resurface again, things are even more bad, making you want to dive back in, and so on ad infinitum. Welcome to the cycle of addiction. Hello, zombie. A sixth ride is called the Levitator. The goal of the Levitator is to escape your story with meditation. Now, this is less destructive than becoming a zombie and can be a healthy way actually to get in touch with yourself as a creature who is more than stories. But meditation can be just another form of escape if you make it a way to live. You can only levitate so long. You eventually come crashing down back into the story you were trying to levitate out of. The only real way to embrace your life is to do so in all three dimensions. Christianity and other Western religions are one-dimensional, residing in the realm of story. Eastern religions are one-dimensional too. They live in the realm of being, pure being. Sensuality offers first-class vacations in the realm of desire. In the next 3 weeks, as we face the specters, you will find a way to embrace your life on each of these levels. It's a full-bodied embrace of your humanity. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's move on to the next ride. The patient. Outside perspective can be a useful way to make sense of your life. A wise friend or a counselor can help you make breakthroughs and take leaps forward. But turning yourself into a lifelong project is just another way to avoid your life. Plus, it's expensive. As a former counselor myself, I'm suspicious of counselors. Probably it's because I was no good at it. But I never felt like my pastoral counsel did anyone much good. People came to me with their broken stories. I tried to fix them. Sometimes I successfully applied a patch, but there was no way to make people's stories what they longed for them to be, a stable foundation for their life. What they needed was a new way to regard story itself. What goes for counseling also goes for medication. Mental illness should not be stigmatized, and psychiatry is a useful and necessary profession. But when 1 in 6 Americans are on antidepressants, you can't help but wonder if we're looking for answers that are beyond the realm of chemistry to solve. Even if you do dial your chemistry in perfectly and find a highly skilled counselor, you still have to live in a world where the specters undermine every story. No wise advice or pill is a match for Inyarus, Vanitas, and Rapax. And finally, we turn to the scientist. Science begins by acknowledging human ignorance and setting out to explore. I love that. It's perfect. Science tests and retests what it observes and records its discoveries. Science is grounded in the world of perception, not imagination. It has expanded our world, not shrunk it. We see more than ever, while at the same time acknowledging the vastness of what we do not see. Our headlights pierce reality only a few dozen feet. Science breaks down when it dons the mantle of all-knowingness, when it claims the sliver of reality we perceive to be the whole. When science falls for this trap, it can be as brittle and dogmatic as the most fundamentalist religion, sneering at all who'd fail to bow. Science and religion are at their best when they point to the vastness of what is not known and say, wow. As a child, my mother read us the Chronicles of Narnia. The children's adventures ignited my imagination and expanded my world. In the same way, Carl Sagan's Cosmos series pointed to a vast and mysterious universe that left me in awe and made me want to go exploring. So in each case, the focus is not on knowing, but on all that is unknown and just the awe at the vastness of our existence. Well, I hope you enjoyed your tour of the Devil's Playground. This concludes our tour. There are other rides, but hopefully this gives you a taste of the inauthentic life you are forced to live if you choose to hide from the Specters. Your escape to the Devil's Playground is like Pinocchio's escape to Boys Town. Each ride leaves you a little more wasted, a little less human. Eventually, you grow sick of it and accept the fact that, as terrifying as it may be, you must face the dark night. When you do this, as hard as it is, you will discover that far from destroying your life, the Specters give you a new way to enter it. Prepare yourselves for the greatest adventure yet, the journey to the island of pure being. See you next week.